Hey everyone, Monty G here. Yes, for those who are new to my channel, yes, this is still the Horror Miser Monty G, and I do review horror movies and do unboxing of horror pictures, do horror vlogs, and everything horror related. But I also do what I call my thoughts on videos. They're basically highly anticipated films that are not horror films, but I want to talk about them so much, so these are one of those videos. And of course, my thoughts on video for this one will be about the latest entry to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that will be Captain Marvel. Yes! Now, Captain Marvel is a 2019 American superhero film based upon the Marvel comic character Carol Danvers, produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Motion Pictures. This is the 21st film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This film was written and directed by two people, Anna Bolwin and Ryan Flack, with Geneva Robinson DeWitt also competing into the writing. This stars Brie Larson as the titular character Captain Marvel. Also, it stars Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendenhall, Jude Law, and yeah, those characters. And I think Annette Bening is also in this one. This is going to be pretty interesting to see what I have to say about this film, Captain Marvel. Now, this story is set in 1995. It's about Carol Danvers. She is a former U.S. Air Force pilot, and also how she becomes Captain Marvel, while at the same time, Earth is caught in the middle between an intergalactic battle between two alien worlds. And that's basically what the premise of the story is. Now, I must say, I have plenty of things to say about this movie, both good and bad. Let's start with the good first. Now, overall, this is an entertaining movie. There's no doubt about it. I had a good time watching this film. It's very fast-paced. You have very great fight scenes. The CGI that they used to de-age Samuel L. Jackson and Clark Gregg into their younger versions of Nick Fury and Agent Coulson does a pretty good job on that too. So I really like those particular aspects of the film. The part I don't like about the film is the whole overall story itself. It lacks depth. It's kind of boring at times. It doesn't give any type of development, especially to the main character, where we actually want to care about her. It's kind of boring how this story is. And I'll talk about that later. But like I said, overall, it is still an entertaining film. If I were to rank this film as far as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's certainly not the bottom, no, but it's certainly definitely not at my top 5. Now, when the film begins, we get a nice tribute to the great late Stan Lee. I thought that was very touching, what they did in the beginning of the film. We see Danvers, here known as Veer, on the planet Hala, which is the home planet of the Kree civilization. She's suffering from some type of nightmares that she's getting flashbacks of her former life as Danvers on Earth. She's now part of this group called the Star Force, some type of special fighting force within the Kree military. They are on their way to another planet to rescue some Kree that has infiltrated a group of Skrills. Those are shape-shifting aliens who the Kree has been fighting with for centuries. After being captured by the Skrills during a small scrimmage, for some reason they're tapping her memory, and once again we see more images of her life on Earth, from her childhood to when she was a teenager to when she became an Air Force pilot. There's a scene in this particular scene where we see a person by the name of we see an image of her, Dr. Wendy Lawson, that she recognizes from the encounter that she had with the Supreme Intelligence. So she decides to she escapes from the Kree ship, and she crash lands on Earth, and of all places, Los Angeles. There she encounters a very young SHIELD agent, Nick Fury. They and her fight off all the Skrills that have come to Earth. They followed her to Earth, and basically what her and Nick Fury have to do, they have to figure out who this Danvers person is, and also who the hell is this Dr. Wendy Lawson, and what does she have to do, and why the Skrills are so interested in finding her. Now, as I stated earlier before, like I said, this film is very entertaining. It's filmed very well. The practical effects, or how they film the cinematography that they use, is done very well. The earlier shots of how the Kree homeworld looks, the supposedly virtual reality that they use as supreme intelligence is sort of a different way as opposed to how he's represented in the comics. The people who know, we know how people who know about the supreme intelligence, how he looks in the comics, very different here in this movie right here. Now, I do like the costumes that Carol Danvers, well, I should say Veers, and the rest of the Star Force team uses. I thought they were very better than the weird-looking costumes that they wear in the comics. So people who know about that, you understand what I mean by that. So I do give them credit for that. And I said once again earlier, as I said before, the fight scenes are pretty good. They're choreographed very well. They're well filmed. They're well edited together, despite the lack of tension that they do hold, which I'll explain later. The best part in the film, as I explained earlier, is the de-aging that they did with both Samuel L. Jackson and Clark Gregg. It looks very blended very well. Doesn't look weird. Doesn't look out of place like the effects they used. Carrie Fisher Star Wars World One, Star Wars World One, and Star Wars for it. It looked kind of out of place. It looked kind of weird. Here they look all nice and blended, and it looks very well. I like how well they did. It looks very well. It doesn't look weird. It doesn't look out of place. Everything about that was great. Now, I did have a bit of a problem about the Skrills. Now, I guess not the fact of the effects that they used, how the ship changed. I thought that was pretty good. But I guess green doesn't look very good on film. So they kind of look kind of greenish, really grayish to me. They don't look like the Skrills that I've seen from the comic books before. But I'm thinking that trying to pull that green off on film probably didn't look well. So they had to make it at least blend in well on the film. Otherwise, it looked terrible. So I guess it's the only reason I didn't like that. But hey, what you going to do? Obviously, you're going to make the Skrills look somewhat good when they're in their makeup. Now, I actually did also like the use of Captain Marvel's power, the photon blast that she has. They look very seemingly well done, although at times it looked like a rainbow at times. But, you know, what are you going to do? It looked very fast and it looked very well. I like how they incorporated that in the film, so it didn't look out of place as well. Now, when it comes to the acting, I will say this first about Brie Larson. Now, I've heard a lot of people criticize the fact that she did not do a good job. I myself thought she was pretty good in what she had to do and what the storyline had her had to do as far as the beginning parts of the film. I like how she was. She comes off as heroic, confident, a little bit cocky at times. I like her interactions first with Jude Law's young role character. Obviously, she respects him, and at the time, you know, she feels as though that's her mentor. But she feels as though he's hiding something from her. She really doesn't trust him as much. So I like the interactions that she had with Jude Law as Ron Moe. No, obviously the best scenes and obviously the best things that are in this film is her scenes with Samuel L. Jackson. They are pretty good on screen together. They have great chemistry together. Even at times when they do comedy bits, that you get a good laughs out of them. They respect each other, and I thought that was the best part of the film is the chemistry you have between her and Samuel L. Jackson. And as I stated earlier, and I will say this again, Samuel L. Jackson is the best thing in this movie. He's great in his role as a younger version of Nick Fury. As his first encounters with aliens and, I guess you can say, superhero beings, he plays it off pretty well. He's not scared. He's not intimidated. You can tell that his interactions and how he carries himself will lead to the reason why he became the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's not intimidated by anyone. He's a man of action, and he also proves his loyalty. There's a nice bit in the middle of the film where Brie Larson and him have a nice little play together about to show him that he's not a Skrill, which I thought was pretty good of how they played that scene together. Ben Mendelsohn, I thought he was pretty good as Talos. He played his role very well. I won't say anything more about giving anything away. If I do a spoiler review on this particular movie, I'll talk about more about his role in the film. But I would say I thought he was pretty good as the leader of the Skrills. Everyone else seemed to do his pretty good well. Jude Law was okay as Jan Marl, although I thought he was a bit stiff at times. Everyone seems to play as well. I also like Latasha Lynch as Maria Rambeau, Carol Danvers' partner, Air Force pilot partner. I thought she showed strength, She did show a bit of emotion, some of the few types of emotion that we saw in this picture, when she realizes that her best friend has been alive for over 6 years since he disappeared. So I thought she was pretty good in that particular part of the film. I enjoyed the chemistry that they have later on in the film. That's probably one of the good aspects I did like about this film, is the two female roles in this film. Now, let's talk about this story. I don't know what the filmmakers and the writers were thinking about when they created this film. But like I said before, it lacks depth. It's kind of boring and uninteresting at times. We get no real development of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, at all in this film, to the point where the audience really doesn't care what really happens to her. Now, I guess for some reason they thought this was the great way to introduce a character like this as we're coming up before Avengers Endgames, because she's supposed to be a very powerful hero, and I guess they want to show that she's going to be very powerful here because she's going to play a major factor in Avengers Endgame. So I guess that's the reason why they had her appear static, uncaring, wooden. I guess that's why Brie Larson appears that way. I don't think it has anything to do with Brie Larson's acting capabilities, because we all know she's such a great actress. I mean, she was excellent in the room. But like I say here, like I did enjoy her performance, but because of how the story is, she's stiff. She's wooden. She's uninteresting at times. Sometimes she comes up off as flat. But I blame that more on the story than I do on Brie Larson's acting ability. Now, would it have been better if we actually would have saw more of Carol Danvers' life before the situation happens in this film as we see her now? I think maybe that could have been a better way to introduce this character. Perhaps the way we wouldn't have this way that we have in the story. And I'm pretty sure some also people there are going to be talking about, which I won't mention before, the changes in the skrill. I won't mention anything other than that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have a lot to say about that particular part of the story. I didn't have a problem with it. You know, you're not going to do everything in this, when you do adaptations, everything's not going to come off the same. There's going to be changes because the writers feel this makes a more dramatic story for people who are not familiar with these characters, as a person such as myself or anyone who knows more about the source material about the Skrills, the Kree, and Carol Danvers. Now, overall, like I said, this is an entertaining film. By no means, this is not the worst in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But if I were to rank this film, I would say it's kind of in the middle for me. I would put this somewhere in the middle. I might do a ranking after this comes up, or I might wait until after Avengers Endgame before I actually do another ranking of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But like I said, it's kind of in the middle for me. Like I said, it's an entertaining film. We have some good fight scenes. Brie Larson is okay. The best thing in this movie is Samuel L. Jackson. But, you know, I think if they would have made some different minor changes in the film, perhaps it would be a better film. Now, for those guys who are new on my channel right here, when I do my thoughts on videos, I do not rank them because they do not deserve to get any of my, not the fact they don't deserve to get any of my gold coins, but that's for horror pictures because I am a horror, this is a horror channel, but I just tell people what I thought about the film. Is it good enough for you to go see it in the movies? Well, I'll leave that decision up to you. I'm not going to say, go rush out and see it. Yeah, you're going to love it. This is just what I thought about the movie. Like I said, it's highly entertaining. I think most people will enjoy it, but I think from what I'm hearing, most people are not enjoying it. Some people said it was terrible. Some people said it was I'm more in the line is it's okay, but it could have been a lot better had they done something different with the story. So, my superhero movie fans, what did you think about Captain Marvel? Did you thought that this story was okay, or did not like it at all? Do you think Brie Larson was good, or do you think she was flat and she was not the perfect person to play this type of character? Leave your comments down in your comment section below and tell me what you thought about Captain Marvel. Well, that's my video for today, guys. And if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up because it does help the channel a lot. And if this is your first time here, please hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell. That way you can come and enjoy the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. And as always, all my social media links will be now in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, horror rules. I'm out. Peace.